Part 1. The Spark. When Amari Davis first stepped into the art gallery downtown Chicago, it wasn't the vibrant canvases or polished sculptures that caught his attention, it was her. Zaria Monroe stood in the middle of the room, laughing with her best friend, her curls bouncing with every nod, her energy radiating through the space like the very art that surrounded them. Amari had just finished a shift at his architecture firm and wasn't planning to stay long. But in that moment, time shifted. Their eyes met, and Zaria gave him a polite, curious smile. Encouraged, Amari approached her with a quiet confidence. "That piece over there," he gestured to a striking abstract in reds and golds, "feels like it's burning with passion. What do you think it's trying to say?" Zaria raised an eyebrow, clearly impressed he wasn't using a pickup line. "Maybe it's not trying to say anything. Maybe it's just feeling something." That one moment became the beginning of something extraordinary. Part 2. Rooted in Growth. Zaria was a botanical illustrator, obsessed with plants, nature, and the way life took shape through lines and light. Amari was more structured, an architect who designed buildings rooted in both elegance and practicality. On paper, they couldn't have been more different. But somehow, their lives began to intertwine effortlessly. They spent weekends exploring Chicago's hidden parks and weekday evenings cooking together, usually with jazz in the background and wine glasses half full. Their conversations danced between dreams and childhood memories, politics and poetry, grief and hope. They supported each other's ambitions. Amari accompanied Zaria to gallery exhibitions in New York, carrying her portfolios and calming her nerves. Zaria, in turn, brought Amari coffee during his late-night design crunches and helped him visualize concepts by sketching nature-inspired ideas. There was no competition between them, only elevation. They made each other better, not by changing each other, but by believing in each other's power to rise. Part 3. Family Ties. Their families met at a cookout Zaria organized in her grandmother's backyard on the South Side. The scent of grilled ribs and mac and cheese mingled with laughter and card games. Amari's mom brought her famous peach cobbler. Zaria's dad made everyone promise to dance by sundown. Both families embraced each other like old friends. There was no awkwardness, no tension, only joy. Zaria's little cousins adored Amari, who built them a makeshift fort from patio chairs and blankets. Zaria's grandmother pulled her aside and whispered, "He's a good one, baby. You see it, right?" Zaria smiled. "I do." Part 4. Winds of Change. One evening, as they walked by Lake Michigan, hand in hand, Amari paused. The breeze rustled Zaria's hair, and the city skyline glowed behind them. "I want to build something that lasts," he said softly. "With you." Zaria looked at him, heart pounding. "You mean?" "I mean life. Love. Legacy." He dropped to one knee, revealing a simple gold ring with a tiny vine design etched around the band. Tears welled in her eyes. "Yes. 1,000 times yes." Part 5. Flourish. Their wedding was small, but overflowing with meaning. Held in a greenhouse surrounded by the plants Zaria loved so much, the ceremony felt like nature itself was blessing their union. Vows were exchanged under a canopy of hanging ferns and orchids. "You are my home, my muse, my peace," Amari said. "You are my light, my partner, my greatest love," Zaria replied. As they danced their first dance barefoot, to Etta James, it felt like the world had shrunk down to just the two of them. Part 6. Building the Future. Years passed, and their love only grew deeper. They didn't just talk about change, they built it. Zaria opened a nonprofit that taught art and plant-based healing to underserved communities. Amari started an initiative to design sustainable housing for Black neighborhoods, blending innovation with cultural preservation. They became pillars of support in their city, not celebrities, but everyday heroes, showing that love could be both soft and revolutionary. When their daughter was born, Nia, meaning purpose, they cried together, overwhelmed by the beauty of legacy and love multiplied. Part 7. Love Without Fear. In a world that often spotlighted trauma, Zaria and Amari chose joy. They didn't ignore injustice, but they refused to let it define their story. Their love was full of laughter, quiet mornings, garden-grown tomatoes, bedtime stories, and matching pajamas. It was not perfect. There were arguments, long days, lost keys, spilled wine. But it was whole, built on mutual respect, open communication, and unwavering support. Final part. Forever isn't a moment, it's a choice. One summer afternoon, sitting on their porch with Nia asleep on Zaria's chest and Amari sketching dream homes in his notebook, Zaria whispered, "Do you think love always feels this, grounded?" Amari kissed her forehead. "Not always. But when it does, you hold on to it." And they did. Every single day. Chapter 1. Storms and Stillness. Life, as it always does, continued to evolve. The honeymoon phase gave way to the everyday rhythms of family, work, and self-discovery. Amari and Zaria found themselves juggling the roles of parents, professionals, lovers, and friends, each one requiring time, patience, and care. Their daughter Nia grew quickly curious, wild-hearted, and full of questions. She loved art like her mother and construction like her father. Her favorite thing to do was build nature castles in the backyard using twigs and flower petals, then run to show her parents with a proud grin. But not every season was smooth. Amari faced burnout. His sustainable architecture firm had taken on a city contract that brought immense pressure, red tape, and long nights. He started to miss dinners, then weekends. Zaria noticed the shift, not just in time, but in presence. One evening, after Nia was asleep, she said softly, "You're here, but you're not with me." Amari sighed, rubbing his tired eyes. "I know. I'm just trying to make something that matters." "You already have," she replied, placing her hand on his chest. "Don't lose what matters most in trying to prove it." He wrapped his arms around her and breathed deeply. "Thank you for reminding me." They agreed to create new boundaries, one weekend a month completely tech-free, Friday nights for each other, and quiet early mornings just to talk before the day began. They weren't perfect at it, but they kept showing up. For themselves. For each other. Chapter 2. Branching out. Zaria's nonprofit, Roots and Remedies, was gaining national attention. Her art-based healing programs were now being implemented in schools and community centers across the country. With new success came new responsibilities: travel, media interviews, leadership decisions. One afternoon in Los Angeles, after speaking on a panel about Black wellness, Zaria sat alone in her hotel room, overwhelmed. Her phone buzzed, a FaceTime from home. It was Amari and Nia, eating cereal at the kitchen counter, both wearing sunflower stickers on their cheeks. "We miss you, Mama," Nia chirped. "Daddy made heart pancakes." Zaria laughed through her tears. "Save me one." Amari smiled. "Always." Though she traveled more often, their bond never weakened. They checked in constantly, celebrated each other's wins, and always ended every call with the same words: "I'm proud of you. I love you." Chapter 3. Legacy in Motion. Amari's firm completed its largest project yet, a community center built in a historically underserved neighborhood, designed entirely by local Black architects and funded by public and private partnerships. It became a model nationwide. During the ribbon cutting, he invited Zaria and Nia to stand beside him. "This isn't just about buildings," he said to the crowd. "It's about foundation, home, love. It's about showing our children what's possible when we dream together." Zaria squeezed his hand. Nia beamed. Later, as they walked through the completed space, filled with art, classrooms, green spaces, and a rooftop garden, Zaria whispered, "You built this." "We built this," he corrected gently. Chapter 4. Shifting Seasons. As years passed, life shifted again. Nia became a teenager, full of opinions and fire. She pushed boundaries, explored her identity, questioned everything. Sometimes the house felt like a storm cloud and a sunbeam all at once. One evening, after a particularly loud disagreement between Nia and Zaria about curfews and trust, Amari found Zaria in their bedroom, quiet and still. "Did I do something wrong?" she asked, tears threatening. "She doesn't talk to me the way she used to." Amari sat beside her. "She's becoming herself. It's not rejection, it's transformation. You taught her to speak." Now she's learning how to listen. Zaria exhaled. Parenting is letting go, isn't it? In pieces, yes, he replied. But the love that stays. Chapter 5. Full Circle. At 17, Nia was accepted into a dual-degree program for environmental design and fine arts. Her final high school project? A public installation called Seasons of Us, a collaboration of architecture and natural elements that honored her parents' journey. The opening night was emotional. At the center of the piece stood two towering sculptures, one of a tree, the other of a house, their roots and foundations intertwined, glowing softly from within. "This is about my parents," Nia said to the audience. "They didn't just raise me. They showed me how to love with intention, how to create, how to stay." Zaria and Amari held hands in the crowd, hearts full. They saw themselves, their laughter, tears, compromise, forgiveness, reflected in every corner of the artwork. Chapter 6. Gentle Days. Now in their late 40s, Zaria and Amari began embracing a quieter pace. They bought a small cabin by Lake Michigan, surrounded by wildflowers and silence. There were still projects, travels, and dinners with friends, but more than anything, there was peace. They spent mornings reading, afternoons painting or sketching, evenings in rocking chairs with chamomile tea and Miles Davis on vinyl. One night, as fireflies danced outside and the moon cast silver over the lake, Zaria said, "Do you ever wonder what life would have been like if we'd taken different paths?" Amari looked at her, smile soft. "Every version of me would still find you." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "And every version of me would wait." Final chapter. Ever after isn't the end. Years later, at their 25th wedding anniversary, their home overflowed with loved ones. Nia brought her partner, her art now shown in galleries across the world. Zaria's nonprofit was now a national network. Amari's designs were taught in university classrooms. But none of those accomplishments define their story. Their story was written in the handwritten notes Amari still left in Zaria's sketchbooks. In the way she still traced her fingers over his jaw before he fell asleep. In the laughter that bloomed in their home like spring, no matter the season. In the quiet morning of that anniversary, before the guests arrived, Amari turned to Zaria in their kitchen, just like always. "Still choosing you," he whispered. Zaria, with silver strands now woven through her curls, smiled. "Every single day." And so they did. Not because love was easy. Not because life was perfect. But because real love, the kind rooted deep, grows even in the harshest winters and blooms again with every sunrise.